It started with something so small, almost invisible in a world that moves too fast to notice quiet hearts. Fazza wasn't anyone special in the eyes of people scrolling past thousands of posts every day. He didn't have a massive following, didn't chase trends, and didn't try to impress anyone. He simply existed between long nights and silent thoughts, carrying a weight he never spoke about. There was a time when he used to write more often, when words came to him like breathing, but somewhere along the way, life taught him to stay quiet. Still, that night felt different. At 2:17 a.m., with tired eyes and a restless heart, he typed a few lines and posted them without thinking too much. Some people don't leave your life, they just stop choosing you. It wasn't meant to go viral. It wasn't meant for attention. It was just a piece of his truth, released into the digital void. He put his phone aside, expecting nothing. No likes, no comments, no reaction. That's how it always was. His words would drift quietly, like whispers in a storm. He lay there staring at the ceiling, lost in memories he tried so hard to forget. Memories of someone who once meant everything. Someone who didn't just leave his life, but left a silence behind that no one else could fill. He had learned to live with that silence, or at least pretend he had. But deep down, some part of him was still waiting, still hoping, even if he never admitted it to himself. A notification sound broke the stillness of the night. Just one. He ignored it at first, assuming it was nothing important. But something inside him felt unsettled, like a quiet voice urging him to look. Slowly, he reached for his phone and unlocked it. A single comment had appeared under his post. His heart didn't react immediately, but when he saw the name, everything inside him froze. It was her. The one person he had trained himself not to think about. the one whose absence had become a permanent part of his life. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. His fingers hovered over the screen as if touching it would make everything disappear. But it didn't. The comment was still there, real and undeniable. I never stopped choosing you. You just stopped believing that I did. He read it once, then again, and then again, as if each time would change the meaning. But it didn't change. If anything, it sank deeper into him with every second. The words carried a weight that no one else could understand. They weren't just a response to his post, they were a response to everything that had been left unsaid between them. Memories rushed back without warning. The late-night conversations that stretched into mornings, the laughter that came so easily, the comfort of knowing someone understood him without needing explanations. And then the ending, if it could even be called that. There was no dramatic goodbye, no clear reason, just distance that slowly grew until it became impossible to cross. He had convinced himself that she had chosen to leave, that she had stopped caring. It was easier to believe that than to question his own role in losing her. He wanted to reply, but the words refused to come out the way he wanted. He typed something, then erased it. Tried again, erased again. How do you respond to someone who once held your entire world in their hands? How do you speak to someone who broke you, yet still feels like home? Minutes passed, turning into what felt like hours, until he finally sent a simple question. Then why did you leave? It wasn't everything he wanted to say, but it was all he could manage. The typing indicator appeared almost instantly, then disappeared, then came back again. It was strange how something so small could make his heart race. He waited, unsure if he was ready for whatever answer would come next. When her reply finally appeared, it was longer than he expected. Because loving you started hurting me, and I didn't know how to fix something you never talked about. He stared at the screen, feeling something inside him crack open. It wasn't anger or sadness, but something deeper, something closer to truth. She wasn't wrong. He had always kept his fears locked away, believing that silence was strength, that not expressing his emotions would somehow protect what they had. But instead, it created distance, the kind that slowly destroys even the strongest connections. Their conversation didn't stop there. What started as a comment turned into messages, and those messages turned into something neither of them had planned. At first, it was careful, almost hesitant, like two people trying not to step on broken pieces of the past. But slowly, the walls began to fall. She told him how she had waited for him to open up, how she had tried to understand his silence, how she stayed longer than she should have because she believed in what they had. And then she told him how leaving him felt like losing a part of herself, even though she knew she couldn't stay in something that was hurting her. For the first time, Fazza didn't hide. He didn't pretend everything was fine. He told her about the fears he had buried for so long. The fear of not being enough, the fear of losing her, the fear of giving everything to someone and ending up alone. He realized that instead of fighting for her, he had been fighting his own emotions, pushing her away without even realizing it. "You never lost me," she said at one point. "You just never fought for me." Those words stayed with him, echoing in his mind long after the conversation paused. Days turned into nights, and nights turned into something softer. They didn't rush back into what they had before. They didn't pretend nothing had happened. Instead, they chose to rebuild, slowly and honestly. It wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, moments where the past tried to pull them back into old patterns. But this time, they talked. They listened. They understood, and that made all the difference. Fazza started writing again, but his words had changed. They were no longer just about pain or loss. They carried growth, reflection, and something that felt like healing. People began to notice. His posts started reaching more people, resonating with those who had experienced similar emotions. It wasn't because his writing was perfect, but because it was real. And in a world full of filtered perfection, realness stood out. One day, he posted something that captured everything he had learned. The right person doesn't leave, but sometimes, they step back to see if you'll finally choose them to. The response was overwhelming. Likes, shares, comments poured in from everywhere. But among all of them, one stood out, just like before. It was from her. This time, we both choose each other. He looked at the screen, a quiet smile forming on his face. Not the kind of smile he showed the world, but something deeper, something genuine. He realized then that not all endings are final. Some are just pauses, moments where life forces you to grow before giving you another chance. Love isn't always about holding on or letting go. Sometimes, it's about understanding when to do both. And sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one message, one comment to change everything. That night, as he lay in bed once again, the silence felt different. It wasn't heavy anymore. It wasn't filled with unanswered questions. It was calm, almost comforting. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't overthinking the past or worrying about the future. He was simply present, appreciating the fact that some things are meant to find their way back, no matter how lost they seem. And as his phone rested beside him, screen dimmed and quiet, he knew that what started as a simple post had turned into something much bigger. Not just a story to share with the world, but a reminder that sometimes, the smallest actions can lead to the biggest changes. That sometimes, people don't really leave, they just wait for you to realize their worth. And that sometimes, all it takes is one comment to bring everything back to life. This channel is all about poetic stories and emotional content inspired by Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Fazza, the Crown Prince of Dubai. Here, you will find deep poetry, love stories, and powerful lines reflecting his royal lifestyle, silent strength, and emotional side. Backhand index pointing right. Please like and share and subscribe my channel for more beautiful poetry and poems. Red heart. Thanks for watching my videos.